Welcome to the Grow in Sahuarita podcast, where we talk about all things to growing your business in Sahuarita. Enjoy this episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Grow in Sahuarita podcast. This is Alex, Economic Development Specialist for the town of Sahuarita. And behind the system, computer, and soundboard, we have Dustin as our producer. And so together we are leading this new program as part of our Grow in Sahuarita research, which is called the Grow in Sahuarita Podcast. So welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, I just want to say again, welcome. If you've been listening to the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. Today is definitely a special episode. It's one because we're diving into a journey that many in our community can relate to. That transition is from military service to business ownership. And as you may know, Sahuarita and Southern Arizona are home to many veterans. We have a lot of active duty families. And entrepreneurship is often one of the paths that veterans take after service. And so that transition isn't always simple. It requires courage, discipline, adaptability, and willingness to step into something new. So today, I'm joined by Joe Alvarado, owner of Conserva Irrigation of Tucson, to talk about this journey from serving 20 years in the U.S. Air Force to owning and operating a franchise business right here. So to tell you a little bit more about Joe, Joe Alvarado is the owner of Conserva Irrigation of Tucson, a retired U.S. Air Force technical sergeant with 20 years of distinguished service. So, sir, thank you so much for your service. And so during his military career, Joe served in roles including military police, information technology with multiple deployments overseas, including Iraq. After retiring from the Air Force, he transitioned into the private sector, working as a cybersecurity analyst. That's amazing, at Raytheon. And so, driven by his desire to continue serving his community in a new way, Joe pursued business ownership and became the owner of the Tucson branch of Conserva Irrigation in 2022. He has drawn to the franchise's commitment to excellence, strong training culture, and its focus on water efficiency, sustainable landscaping, something that is definitely meaningful here in Southern Arizona. And Joseph has lived here in Arizona for over a decade and is currently been married for 22 years and proud father of one daughter. Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me on here. I'm excited to share my journey. There's a lot of ups and downs, and the goal here is to share my experiences, and hopefully people learn from my experiences as well. So, yeah, thank you.
The other thing that I forgot to mention is for those of you that know about the Grow in Sahuarita programs, actually Joe was the very first client when we first launched this program back in February 2023. And I was not even part of the team yet. I was coming as a resource, working for a different organization. And so it's incredible that you're here, and we've seen your growth. And obviously this program started with the help of Doug. And so he was your first coach, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he teaching me how to Dougie, teach me how to Dougie. That's what happened, But
so, Doug, if you're listening out there, we thank you so much for being an important piece to this program. So, Joseph, you have served for 20 years in the Air Force, or you served in 20 years in the Air Force. And so, first of all, again, thank you for your service. What was the transition like when you moved from military life into private sector?
Thank you for your support. Honestly, it was scary. Serving 20 years in the military, I had one uniform to wear, so that was easy, waking up every day. But transitioning, again, it was scary. I didn't know what I was going to do. And when I made that transition, I was lost. Honestly, I was lost. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I knew everything, what I needed to do to be a good airman. But to transition into the civilian world, it was like, what do I do now? Where's all my buddies at? Everybody's away.
Yeah.
And so going through that journey, it was, really had to dig deep and figure out how do I fit in my new role.
Yeah.
A lot of good support to get me there. But what it really comes down to is like, I needed to do something different for myself. I felt like my story wasn't finished yet. And so I decided to go through the franchise route.
Yeah.
And I looked at about 10 franchises. I forgot to mention, while you're in the military or maybe when you're after, they have these programs, and one of them is called Boots to Business.
Yeah.
And there was a franchise
Great program.
Yeah. Really good stuff there. And there was a franchise broker there. And so I connected with him, and we looked at 10 franchises. And you go through the process of learning the numbers and understanding what they do. And when I came to Conserva, there was number 10. I was like, you know what? I could really see myself doing this. I like to get dirty, work with my hands. And being able to see the end result. That's probably like the most thing.
Yeah.
That's probably the most gratification from this being a business owner.
Yeah.
Go there, we fix things, and we do all these great things for people's landscape, and you come back months later for a maintenance, and you see like, wow, like what this is turned immaculate. We understand our elderly community, they treat their plants like they're their kids,
Right.
So you gotta be extra sensitive.
Yeah.
You just gotta you gotta just top notch service, and even when the widows too, you gotta make sure you go above and beyond for them. I always picture in my head like their husbands looking down at me and say, hey, make sure you do a good job for my wife. So I think of those kind of things that really kind of sits in my heart, and and explain everything, because I understand like a lot of our customers don't know irrigation. So me and my team, we emphasize in educating our customers when it comes to irrigation.
Wow, that sounds like there was a lot of skills that were transferred from having the military life. Obviously, you jumped for a time working at Raytheon, but in all that, what other skills were like transferred easily into business ownership?
Oh yeah, so I think that what really, so I chose the franchise. I'm sorry I didn't go deep into that. The reason I could have started my own irrigation business, but I would still been lost. But I like the franchise because it's very similar to the military. We're wearing our uniforms.
Oh, I see.
We got the SOPs, we got the manuals.
Yeah.
We got the checklists. We got the professionalism, and that's something that really helps me out a lot with my sales. And so I still shave today. Even my family kind of makes fun of me if I don't shave for a few days. Like, hey, what are you gonna shave? But having that professionalism, it really is a really big deal. Even saying yes, sir, no, ma'am. All those little things. Really, how we speak to each other. It's really interesting how I can kind of tie all that in together with my military experience. Even when it comes to sales, I mean, I've been all over the world, honestly, different places, and I can relate to people, and it's kind of neat. If there's people from, Colorado, I'm like, oh, what part of Colorado are you from? I was like, oh, I did that and that, so it's really nice to have that. But, my military background, having the experience of traveling, I can relate to my customers. The accountability, I mean, I got thousands of people hold me accountable.
Yeah.
And those are my customers, and those are my employees as well, too. They hold me accountable. As such, I do the same thing. The discipline.
Yeah.
Not willing to quit. I mean, that is, I know I have many counseling sessions or, sessions
Coaching
with
sessions,
you,
yeah.
coaching sessions that I feel like they're more like therapy sessions. How do I get through this, man? And, really comes down to the support getting here. But, the discipline is really is taking me to the next level. I don't have an option to quit. I don't like to quit. I love to win. And so, if I quit in the military, that's called AWOL.
Yeah.
And so, I take it serious because, I mean, there's people's lives. I don't want to mess with their livelihoods and those kind of things. That my employees are really counting on me to really be disciplined in what I do. Another skill I learned was training when I was in the Air Force. While I was in the Air Force, or just this is everybody. When you go through boot camp, then you go to the technical school, and then you go to your first duty location. And they have this program, on-the-job training program. And the on-the-job training program is very similar to what I'm doing in-house as well. And so we're verbally telling how to do certain tasks. We're showing how to do it. And then these guys have to verbally tell us, and then they got to show us physically how to complete those tasks. So those are the 4 columns we have, and then we have a bunch of tasks that go underneath that. We also have a computer-based training that it's called Conserva University. And so Conserva Irrigation provides that CBT. And so I just made this structure, and I was like, oh, what makes sense at these different levels? Because my goal is to bring high-character guys that has no experience to be well-trained professionals out there in the field. So that's a big help right there because, I've interviewed so many people where, they say I have irrigation experience, but they don't have irrigation experience. I had one guy that hung up on me when I asked him a few questions. And there's some guys that do get by, and then you're on the job with them, and you're seeing it like, oh, they're doing it wrong. Yeah. And so they have a lot of I don't want to say everybody, but, the guys that I brought on, they had bad habits. Yeah. So I want to teach good habits and provide excellent service for my customers.
So that is so cool that you transferred this same type of training that you acquired from Air Force, and now you're applying it to your business. And so the on-the-job training. So I think that's also a great way, as a matter of fact, to open up the door for people who have like great soft skills. They have self-leadership, self-starters, right? And then you just train them on the job. So congrats for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's cool that, through this program, VBOC, right? Or the center is called VBOC. For those of you that don't know, this is a program that is specifically put together by the Small Business Administration. So it's the Better Business, I forget what the OC stands for, something center. And so this program that you talked about, I didn't know that. I've taught classes there at the Boots to Business, but I didn't know that they were touching on topics of franchise, and even taking a step further, bringing you options, which is super cool. So what about Conserva Irrigation, right? Because that's the company that you bought a piece of or bought into. What specifically appealed to you that attracted you? So obviously you mentioned about the structure, you mentioned about irrigation and doing things with your hands, but when you had a list of 10, besides those things, what else made you like, this is something that appeals to me?
Yeah. It really comes down to, everywhere I've lived at, if I lived on base or off base, I've always taken great pride of my landscape. And so I wanted to bring that same passion to my customers and give them the beautiful landscape that they want, especially with the elderly community. They want this thing to look beautiful. There's their kids, and, I really take great pride in that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's the end result for me. It's the gratification when it comes to all that.
The other piece too, and that's definitely embedded in the name of the company, Conserva, which means conserve, right? It's being in Southern Arizona, water is always not necessarily an issue, but we're conscious of our water usage. And so what ways has your company been helping your customers conserve water? Obviously, keep that landscape beautiful. If you talk to me you give me a plan, I would kill it in the next 2 weeks. Grass, I just learned that there's different kinds of grass. So I guess I'm resonating with some of our listeners. So, for those who are listening, what would be some of the things that you're proud of your company doing as far as water usage, as well as educating your customers on different things?
No, that's a great question. So 2 reasons, conservation and efficiency. That's what we're looking at. So conservation, one ways we do that is we provide EcoSmart technology.
Oh, nice.
And so we have a Wi-Fi controller, and basically what it does, it connects to your local weather station, and then it sends data back to your controller, and then it calculates how much water you need that day.
Oh,
so
wow.
you're not overwatering, underwatering. Another way it protects your landscape is that if there's any like electrical communication error between your valve and your timer, it will send a notification. And then we can insert flow sensors. When we put a flow sensor and a Wi-Fi timer or a smart controller, it can detect and monitor your system. So it takes about like a week or two to learn your water usage. But if there's a break in the line, it'll be like, it'll turn it off immediately. And then from there, I'll get a notification, same with my customer, and then it'll shut down that system for about 3 days.
Wow.
Until we can respond there. So I love that. And then we also have soil sensors and rain sensors. Those are cool too. Another thing that makes us different, what I love about our company is that, when we go into a customer's house, we're looking for efficiency. So part of that is, the EcoSmart technologies. That's a little bit about it. But what we're doing, we're looking at every part of that system. We're looking at the timer. We're making sure it's functioning properly. We're looking at the settings too.
Okay.
We're looking at ball valves. We're making sure the backflows are working properly. The valves. We're making sure the meters are working too. So we go through this whole process of like, how can we protect this system or protect their investment? How can we give it a nice, clean landscape? How can we give it, the efficiency it needs to make this a well-oiled machine,
Yeah.
So I don't want to give too many secrets, but there's a lot that we do to really make it efficient. We're looking at the whole system. We're not just there to make the repair. We're there to improve that system because landscape, it costs a lot of money to replace it. You can spend, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 to replace, landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So making it thrive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So I want to bring it back to this whole business ownership. There's many ways to start a business. Obviously doing grassroots, starting with an idea. Many of you who are listening, maybe you're in this stage. You have an idea. You're trying to figure out, how do I get started? And we've heard, amazing stories of people starting in their garage, right? And, they ended up being the next big company. Other people just buying someone else's business that it's already been established. They have some client loyalty, and then obviously there's always franchise. Now, in all this, as a business grows, there's always the team, right? The employees, the people who are dependent really from you internally. And so what is it like building a business in Arizona where you have now internally, right? So let's take it on the what I would call like behind the scenes, if you will, where you have to lead a team and then run your business on a daily basis. So you're managing employees, right? Schedules, meetings, and then also running a business. And so there's the internal piece of it, obviously the external piece of it. We touched a little bit on it. Meeting with clients, meeting their needs, right? Giving them the best of your ability. But internally, what are the things that as a business owner since 2022 you've learned, even things that you carry from having a military life that you are implementing? And the question is mainly so that our listeners who are starting and they're thinking, I do want to have employees, what would be your kind of like, hey, you know what, don't do this mistake, or this is how you can manage people?
I think it first starts with passion. Really kind of carry through all the different seasons of being a business owner. My journey looked like this. I made an agreement with the franchise. They sent me to school for like 2 weeks, and then I came back. Then I had to figure out how to hire. Oh, wow. And a lot of people think that owning a franchise, it really it's all wrapped up and given to you. In reality, that's not the truth. You're only getting 50% of the playbook. And so year one, I'm learning to be a technician and a business owner all at once.
So you're also learning the trade.
Yeah, I'm learning the trade too. Even though I had 2 years of experience, not 2 years, but 2 weeks of experience, it didn't really mean much until I actually went out in the field.
Wow.
So I'm out in the field. I'm taking phone calls for customers. I'm missing phone calls from the customers. I'm doing the work. I didn't have much in place, at that time when I started because I didn't know. If I can look back, hiring a strong admin with a big background to really help me, because I'm not going to know everything, so having the right people in place there. So that first year, huge learning curve. I got punched in the gut a couple of times from employees, stealing from me.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, lying to me. Doing a lot of unethical things.
Yeah.
And so then I had to learn how to fire people.
Yeah.
And so, man, firing people, I'm like, oh, man, this is kind of awkward. I was like, oh, this should be easy. I was like, oh, this person, that's easy. No, it's not. It's not. I thought the first time I was going to fire somebody, I thought I was going to get punched in the face. I was a little worried, but, I kept it short and sweet.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to fire people. So I had to look online. I was watching this movie Moneyball. I don't know if you ever watched that movie.
Yeah, of course.
And there's a part where Brad Pitt and the other guy, the assistant GM, they're sitting in that room.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, hey, I need you to trade this guy. He's getting traded to a different team. And so the assistant new GM was like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And so they kind of did a role play. And then what I learned from that scene was you just keep it short and simple.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I said, hey, what I'd usually say, hey, thank you for supporting me and getting me this far, but I'm not the right boss for you. I need you to return your uniforms, and I'm letting you go.
Yeah.
I had people, begging for the jobs, but it's already done. What's done is done. So that first year, I got to learn how to grow up in that part, and still kind of hope that everybody was doing their job. I only have so many eyes, but I'm working a lot of hours every day.
Yeah.
I was really busy trying to understand, making partnerships. I joined BNI as so marketing in that way. Doing even long days. I would go to other business networking events up north, talking to them. So that made it, very tiring, long days. But yeah, year one, we were a little bit profitable. Year two, we were okay. And the things that made me better each time is I would talk to professionals like yourself. We also, Conservative has a conference twice a year. So I have the ability to talk to other business owners. And so I'm learning from them. And, it's kind of neat because this past one conference, they're starting to learn from me as well, too.
Nice.
And so, a lot of ideas are shared with each other, being encouraging as much as possible. And so I think from year 2, year 3, it was 100% gross increase.
Wow.
And I went to one of the conferences, and they talked about tracking your sales and your P&L and all that stuff. And Sue would love this. Sue Oliver, she's the best. She used to get on me, what's your numbers? I'm like, I don't know, and I always had my fingers crossed. I'm like, oh.
Don't ask me that question.
I was like, don't ask me this question, But once I started understanding the sales and seeing the production of my guys and oh, man, this is a nice guy, but nice guy, this nice guy is going to make me finish last,
Yeah.
I started getting tough. I was like, sales guys, this is we're a profit business. You know, if you follow the system, you do all these things that you do, we're going to be profitable.
I love that you're touching on that because many of us, and I include myself, go into business and we're nice people. We have a big heart and we want to treat everyone, right? With respect and dignity. And I'm not saying that to make money, you have to lessen those virtues, but there comes a point that you're like, I like this person. He's a nice person as an employee, but his performance or his or her performance is just not there. And so not that we're being less nice or anything like that. It's just that we're in business to make money. That's just the nature of it, right? Now, it's not all about the money, but without income, without revenues, the business just doesn't exist. and all the jobs are lost, right? You know, people lose their jobs, so on and so forth. And so, for those, if you're listening, you know, that's something that along the years as a coach and a business advisor is, I have to remind people, like, I love your heart. I love, you know, like where you are and what you want to provide to people and clients, but you have to make money. If you're not looking at those P&Ls, if you're not looking at that balance sheet, if you're not looking at performance stats, it's not going to be sustainable. And as much as, even you said it, right? Like, I don't want that question because we hate sometimes looking at numbers, but numbers do not lie, right?
Yes.
And so it sounds like as the moment that you started looking at numbers, you were able to tell the story of your own business. And so when you started looking at numbers, what was that story that the numbers were telling you? Because numbers do tell the story. So what was that story that you started tracking?
Yeah, no, it was well, again, the numbers don't lie, and I was like, wow, and and I try to, we coach them up and things like that, but if they're not following the process, and that's the biggest things right there. There's a certain process of being a successful business, and when your guys are not following it, and you're doing it, and it's like, wow, why am I doing majority of this work?
Right.
And these guys are just kind of off to the side, just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
The numbers, I looked at the numbers, I looked at their sales numbers, and, you look at the P&Ls, and, you really look at the COGS and, all those numbers, and you're like, oh, well, is he worth all this trouble too? I mean, there's other people that I had one guy had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And I was like, but his attitude was terrible. And his sales were okay. And he gave up, and I just kind of like had to, do the same thing, fire him too, know?
Yeah.
There's unethical stuff that was going on behind my back. And I was like, well, that's part of being a business owner.
Yep.
And a business owner, before we're business owners, when we got this like small circle of friends, and you're like, oh, you feel comfortable with them, but now you're like, you spread your wings out to the world now, and it's like, you got to meet all sorts of different people, and they have different backgrounds, and you got to manage that as well too. Because as a business owner, we're dealing with employees. They got some background, and they got their own personal stuff going on, and you got to kind of be their counselor too. I didn't really expect that, So.
Sometimes employees bring their own baggage, right, and you have to deal with that as a business owner. And I think what you're definitely referring to is that reputation that the business is building. And it goes along with brand awareness. So as you go building a business, you're establishing a brand. And so employees do take a part on that, how they're representing the brand, how they're representing your company. And so, man, we have a lot. Really, this is a great conversation. What would you... just to change the subject a little bit, what would you recommend to someone who has military background? Maybe right now they're still on active duty. They're listening to this podcast, and they're thinking of making that transition. And part of that transition of those ideas is like, maybe I want to open my own business. So what would be your best advice for those who are listening?
Well, first go talk to Alex. I mean,
thank you, man.
Honestly, before you put a business together, you got to put a business plan together. And I remember when I put this business plan, originally I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But, honestly, you got to really work with smart people. I always like to, when I relate this to sports, always want to surround people that are better than you so you can get better,
Yeah.
And it's the same concept with being a business. Surround yourself with a supporting cast. You got the counselors, you got the bankers, the legal stuff. I think there's a couple of other ones I can't remember, but surround yourself with those type of people because it makes yourself so much better. Joining networks. Oh, well, this is before if we're thinking, right? So we're thinking like, doing the numbers, understanding the numbers, what it take.
Yeah.
What would it take to actually
Count
be
the
profitable?
cost.
The COGS. What the COGS are. There's a lot of data out there. To really help you out to understand like, does this make sense? And there's even stats, national stats about the growth of a business or an industry business too. So I did that too, part of the financial but part of my business planning, so there's a lot of factors that really played into that. So,
no, that's great. I love that you, part of your story is that you surrounded yourself with a lot of positive voices. You mentioned Sue Oliver. If you guys don't know who Sue Oliver is, she's the director for the Small Business Development Center at Pima Community College. Awesome program. It's probably funded by the Small Business Administration. And programs like that, right, that you can walk in, it's free. They have programs that are specifically for veterans. There's the Women's Business Center. Obviously, here in Sahuarita, we have the Grown Sahuarita program. And so there's many resources. And so in your journey, it sounds like you've been very proactive at surrounding yourself with, and just honestly, I think it comes down to self-honesty. Like, I don't know what I don't know.
I say that a lot too.
Right? Like, and so, but you have to go find out. And I'm pretty sure, being in meetings where like, man, I didn't really want to hear that, but you were told what you didn't want to hear, and that made you grow. And so it's all part of the discipline. And so if you're listening, guys, not that we want to scare you off for being a business owner or buying a franchise, but it does come into play. Especially franchises, we tend to think that they give you the entire playbook and it's all structure and the framework, and they're like, here, I'm just going to open up my doors and start making money. It doesn't, it's not like that. At least for what you're saying, it's not like that.
You're so right. I want to add to that because, 50%, I'm only getting 50% of the playbook.
Yeah.
They're not teaching me they can't tell me who I can hire.
Wow.
So how to get smart on how to hire people, fire people. Marketing, if you're betting on digital marketing, you're going to lose. Honestly, having a marketing plan strategy is really changed how I think things. So I'm doing the business networking.
Yeah.
We're sending out, flyers, the EDDM stuff. We're meeting with more people in the BNI world. We sponsor like football teams throughout Pima County. So there's different things I have set for each month. I'm like, all right, this month I'm doing this and that. But 50% of the playbook you're only getting from the franchisor, and working with you guys, you're like, have you thought about this? I don't know how many times I've heard you say, have you thought about this? It's like you're like intro, like, hey, dude, you need to learn this. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Yep. Have you thought about this? I mean, it's so true. It's so accurate. I could picture it in my head, like audio, but just learn from you guys and open my eyes. Because again, like you said, like you don't know what you don't know. And I say that a lot too. It's like, so I'm always learning. I always get excited when I go to conferences for Conserva or, any type of opportunity to learn more. I mean, if you feel like you're at a point where you learned everything, it's not true. There's so much more to learn in the business.
That is so good.
It's a on continuous education moment every time.
So good. Yeah. I love that. I love that you're saying that, because if you're learned already, you're like, nobody can teach me. You already you already shot yourself in the foot. And so entrepreneurship, it's always being open-minded, learning constantly. Man, as much as I'm loving this conversation, we have to bring it to an end. For those of you who are listening, again, if you are thinking, I want to start a business, maybe you're a veteran, maybe you're a law enforcement. I've actually had law enforcement clients in the Grown Sahuarita that we help them. The other piece too is, because I know I'm going to get the emails, they're going to ask me, why are you helping a company that is in Tucson? Well, actually, Joe is in Sahuarita.
I just bought the name.
You bought the name. And so he's in Sahuarita. He serves Sahuarita, Green Valley, and all the surrounding areas. So obviously that touches Tucson. And so, but still, even if you're in Tucson, you're like, hey, Alex, I want to get coaching. I want to get some guidance for free. Reach out to us, guys. You already know you can always reach out to us at grow@sahuaritaaz.gov. And so, Joseph, I just want to thank you again for sharing your story with us today. I think it's been very inspiring.
Thank you.
I really hope that those who are in military service right now or retiring from it, they're listening. And so if people want to get a hold of you, maybe they have questions. Maybe they actually want to check into your services. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, a great way is phone number is 520-492-2626. That's our main office line right there. And then Tucson at conservairrigation.com. I'll give them a heads up. Hey, if anyone's reaching out for me, send them my way and we can call. And love to have a 10, 15-minute conversation or more if you're any way I can help out. So I'm here to help out. I've done a few years of this journey, and I'm sure I can pass some valuable information.
All right, so there you go, guys. Tucson at conservairrigation.com. And so if you guys need irrigation services, feel free to reach out to Joe and his team. And or even if you have questions as you are listening to this conversation. So thank you once again, and we'll see you guys next episode.